Hey everybody, this is Dudesidabe. Today I'm coming to you. We're going to be reviewing the patch notes released today for Heroes of the Storm, and it is a good one. We finally have the Li Ming nerfs that we have been craving for so long. And I don't think this is going to completely wreck her kit or anything, but it's a much needed nerf that I really enjoy. So let's run over the patch notes here quick. It's going to be a quick video. I hope. I like to talk a lot, so it may end up being a little longer. Anyway, so the big one, Li Ming, our newest hero, still 15,000 coins in the shop or $10 cash. But Astral Presence, the mana regeneration bonus now only triggers while below 25% mana rather than 50%. This is awesome. Li Ming, since she came out, has just been deals a ton of damage, has insane escapability, never runs out of mana. That's really the three things that pushed her above everything else. So this is very nice. It's going to put a little more pressure on conserving mana, whereas before it was just spam the orb missile, orb missile, orb missile, orb missile. So, Diamond Skin, shield amount decreased from 25 to 20% of maximum health. I don't think that's going to change too much of anything, but I'll take the nerf because I hate playing Li Ming's. Talrasha's Elements, yes. Ability power bonus decreased from 20% to 10%. Right now, the most prominent build that I've been seeing with Li Ming, the full DPS build with this one picked. I believe Talrash's Elements is the one where it stipulates that you have to cycle between your abilities to get the bonus, which with Li Ming is not hard. All of her abilities have super low cooldowns. She never runs out of mana. It is not hard to get this bonus. So to see it decrease to 10% is nice. I don't think there will be anything picked over it still. I definitely think it's going to be the top pick talent at that tier as it is now, but I like this nerf. Otherwise, magic missiles damage reduced from, well, it's a percentage decrease. I don't think it's going to change too much because it looks, from what I'm seeing, they didn't reduce the bonus damage from picking up Seeker where all three hit. That's where most of the damage is coming from now, is when all of them hit the same target, it does a ton of extra damage. The big one, the biggest change to her kit, S of Johann removed. S of Johann was probably her most broken talent. It was immensely overpowered with her kit. And it was to the point where if you didn't pick S of Johann, you were considered a bad Li Ming, because you just throw the orb immediately after you throw your missiles. The orb pulls everyone to the center. The missiles wipe whoever they hit. I have seen that before level 20 even, where the Talrash's Elements come into play. I have seen that one-shot assassins from full health to nothing. Kel'Thas, I've seen it on a Raynor. I've seen it on a Sylvanas, just full health, gets hit by S of Johann, hit with the missiles, dead in an instant. And there wasn't a real big counter to that outside of maybe like an ice block or something. But you don't get that at level 4, I believe, like Li Ming does with S of Johann. Completely overpowered talent. Really good that they removed it. Triumvirate distant travel requirement reduced from 80 to 65% of the maximum distance. So it doesn't, I don't know. I don't think that's a huge change, but I also don't know much about Triumvirate, I guess, but let's see what they say here. So Li Ming's a little too strong right now. Her ability to deal incredible damage is awesome. I disagree. It was just happening too often, too easily. I very much agree. We verse Astral Presence and Diamond Skin to preserve a couple of her core weaknesses. Mana Tension and Fragility, that's good. We've also removed S of Johann because we found it made landing magic missiles too easy. Exactly. While we know that a lot of players really enjoy S of Johann, we think it will be better for Li Ming in the long run to preserve her high skill cap. I completely agree. Completely agree. I still think that she is one of the best assassins, right up there with Kel'Thas and Jaina. Still, they didn't reduce a lot of damage in this, really at all. Still has Glass Cannon, still has Seeker, still has Mirror Ball. So a lot of her high damage talents are still there and untouched. So she's still going to deal a lot of damage. Diamond Skin is, I don't think that's a huge change necessarily. Most of her survivability comes from her teleport anyway. Uh, but I do really like Astral Presence. I like that a lot. Um, she needed to really depend more on her mana like Kel'Thas and Jaina. Because at this point, her abilities were borderline spammable, especially once it got to the point where you could just full health to nothing assassins, and then full health to nothing another assassin, and you could really closely wipe teams. So moving on to Rhaegar, or Rhaegod, as I've been hearing him called. This is I agree with this one. I agree with that's all I can say. The Rising Storm talent, I believe that's at level 16. The damage bonus reduced from 20% to 10% per stack. Now, I actually misread this before I read these patch notes. I thought that 20% was the maximum that it could go up to. I didn't realize 20% was per stack. So this ability was nuts. The maximum stacks, it's still the same. If you get it up to 20 stacks, it's going to be doing 200% damage, which is still ridiculous. But I've seen this, like the Rhaegar Illidan combo, the Rhaegar Butcher combo, where the enemy just can't get away and the shield is dealing more damage than the assassin. It's pretty ridiculous, and I'm glad they made this change. I don't think it's good enough. Honestly, I think this ability is still going to be picked 99.9% of the time because it still does an insane amount of damage for a support character putting a shield. It's uh, it's pretty scary. So Rhaegar is still doing too much damage with his lightning shield. I agree. We like the high potential for damage output in his talent, as chasing the dream is fun. A support doing damage. How terrific. However, we found that Rhaegar players were reaching high damage values too fast, and reaching maximum stacks early became the rule rather than the exception. This is extremely true. This was, yes, became the rule. I have played games as Rhaegar where I will drop the shield on uh, on a warrior instead of an assassin who can stick to him, and I got called out a lot for it. Why are you dropping it on the warrior? You should have dropped it on me. Your stacks will do more damage. So it really became, instead of using the shield, um, I don't know. I always like to drop it on the warrior because the warrior, in my opinion, is the one that should be up front engaging a lot. But if you have Earth Shield along with Lightning Shield and you drop that on like an Illidan, I mean, the guy becomes ridiculous. And those two were run a lot together lately. Illidan's win rates have gone up a few percentage points since the Rhaegar buff, and I think it's going to climb more as people realize how great the two are together, especially after level 16. But I think this is good. I would like to see the damage lowered a little bit more. Rhaegar is still, this doesn't change him that much. This ability is still going to be picked all the time. Rhaegar is still going to be the #1 support in the game right now. I mean, his win rates are like 65%, I think was the last I saw. Like, just ridiculous. Um, yeah, so I think they should have nerfed a little more, but we'll see how it plays out. We have a new Barak. Hardened Carapace shield amount increased from 242 to 260. Anubarak's survivability is a little low right now, though not by much. We think that increasing it by buffing his low cooldown shield helps him feel unique and will give him a slight nudge towards becoming another enticing warrior option at all levels of play. I personally, I don't see why Anubarak's not played at the highest levels. He's got really great crowd control. If you go with the uh, what is it called? It's not. I don't think it's Swarm. I think it's an insect build where he just keeps popping out little turds that you know build up to a lot of damage over time. As long as you play him smart and aren't just diving into the middle of 5 people and then standing there and dying, I think he's a very viable tank. His heroic at level 10, where he like his vampiric whatever, where he just deals a significant amount of damage and then recovers all the health. I think I think he's a fine warrior. I don't know. I don't think this is going to push him into the meta by any means, but he's got 2 stuns, 2 long-range stuns, with a shield now that's a little bit better, and he's got good damage. I never saw what was wrong with Anubarak that he wasn't up there. I know he's squishy for a tank, but I don't know. When played correctly, I think he's really good. Anyway, so this doesn't do much to lift him up. I don't think this is going to raise him to the meta by any means, but good change to a good hero, I think. And then Devour, Last Bite, cooldown reduction on kill decrease from 15 to 20 seconds. This is huge. Now, what I would have liked to see was the bug that Stitches had. There's been a bug going around where if he pulls you or hooks you from the Fog of War, uh, it drops your frame rate to like 0. It's the game is borderline unplayable, and it's not every time he hooks you, but when he's standing in that in the cover, hooks you into it, your frame rate dies. And I haven't seen any notes about that at all, but he's actually banned in competitive play right now because of that. So hopefully that gets fixed soon. But this ability, very, very, very overpowered in my opinion, especially on ones like Infernal Shrine, even Garden of Terror a little bit. Anything where you're fighting little little minions or monsters, I think they want them to be called now. He really can't die. He's, in my opinion, he's the best tank for Infernal Shrines. Once he gets Last Bite, he really does become unkillable. It says something in here. We started to notice a few situations where Stitches, after selecting Last Bite, would feel nigh unkillable when fighting near minion waves or around battleground events that featured lots of small minions, like Infernal Shrines. Exactly. So, yes, he can sit in there. If he gets low health, one-shots a minion, and he heals his health. He's really hard to kill in those situations. So hopefully this helps. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. And hopefully that bug gets fixed. So yeah, we have 16.2 patch, the big one for Li Ming, a little one for Rhaegar, Anubarak, and a much needed one for Stitches. Stitches has just climbed in the meta right now. He's become probably the first picked warrior in most situations above, Muradin, who got nerfed, and Johanna, who, I mean, they dropped her cost by 6,000 coins and really has kind of fallen out. I don't know why. There wasn't any major changes to her kit or anything. Um, but she's still a great hero. I don't know. But Stitches has just completely climbed over all of them after they did his buffs to his damage again. So he's like the bruiser, the quintessential bruiser now. Um, but yeah, so good patch, mostly because of the Li Ming changes. This really needed to happen. I would not doubt even a little bit if there were a few more nerfs to her, because she still has insane range, insane poke. She can safely take towers and walls with no risk of being caught at all. And they didn't really nerf a lot of damage outside of Telrash's elements, so for most of the game she's still going to be doing pretty close to same damage. Magic Missile took a little damage buff. but she's still going to be doing a lot of damage. It's going to be harder without Essa Johan, but the people who are good at Li Ming are still going to dominate with her as they have. Um, yeah, so I think this patch was more for the people who are less skilled at the game. I can't tell you how many times I had a terrible Li Ming where they didn't take Essa Johan, they didn't take Seeker, they didn't take Glass Cannon, they didn't take Mirror Ball, and they would do like a teleport build, but they wouldn't use the teleport to go onto them. They would still only use it to run away. So they would lose the damage from it. They would lose the shields from it, and it was very frustrating for me to play at the lower levels with a Li Ming like that. But especially against a Li Ming that knew what she was doing, and I think this is going to alleviate some of those headaches. So hopefully this helps. It's really good because her ban on tournaments is going to be lifted here soon, so she'll be in competitive play. And I still think she's probably going to be the first assassin picked, definitely over Jaina, uh, probably over Kel'Thas, who seemed to really fall off. I don't really understand why he dropped. I know his gravity lapse stun isn't as long anymore, but I didn't think that would just drop him out of the meta because I've seen, I mean, the spring qualifiers just happened in America, and I was really surprised to see that uh, Kel'Thas, wasn't the first assassin picked. It used to be, um, it was like Zagara, Rhaegar, Kel'Thas were kind of the top three. So usually two of them would be banned, and then Kel'Thas would be first pick. And we're not really seeing that anymore. We're seeing bans like, I mean, obviously Stitches couldn't be picked, but we were seeing like Stitches ban, Rhaegar ban, Zagara pick, then Jaina, Muradin, and it really was like, where's Kel'Thas? Where did he go? So now that he's kind of dropped off from everyone's radar, I think Li Ming is going to take his place, especially over Jaina, even though Jaina just got a little buff. But yeah, so good patch, good patch. We'll see if there's any more changes to Li Ming. I think Rhaegar's getting some big nerfs coming a little bit down the line, unless people figure out how to counter him and drop his win rate, because his win rate's by far the highest. So like I said, I think it's around 65%, which is not good, but it's better than Li Ming's like 70%, whatever her outrageous number was. But so yeah, so thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what I'm doing right or wrong, whatever, who cares, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.